Hello again. We're coming to the end now of our little series of videos on work, and to finish we're thinking about the resources that we have to help us as Christians in our work. Last time we were exploring firstly how the Bible, the Word of God, can shape our approach to work by giving us both practical examples and positive attitudes, and I hope you found that helpful. In this video, I want to move on now to think next about how the Spirit of God can inspire our work. This might seem a little bit strange because we often think of the work of God's Spirit as well, spiritual. But how much do we think about the work of the Spirit in equipping us and inspiring us in the work that we do? We know that God is active in our hearts spiritually, but there are many passages in the Bible that speak of God's Spirit being involved in creating and sustaining the physical world. It seems strange to me that we often compartmentalize the work of the Spirit into hidden spiritual areas and neglect to remember that the Spirit of God is at work in all sorts of ways. I just want to take you in this video to an incredible Bible passage that we could easily skip over without realizing its importance to the realm of work. You might want to turn to it if you can. It's in Exodus chapter 31. The context of this passage is that God is telling Moses how to build a mobile worship center for his people in the desert. It was called the Tabernacle. And it was a tremendously beautiful thing made up of all kinds of different materials, metals and fabrics. And it required a great deal of craftsmanship and skill to complete it. In Exodus chapter 31, we're introduced to two men. And the first is a guy called Bezalel. In verse 3, we're told first that this man was filled with the Spirit of God. And this led to him having skill, ability and knowledge in all kinds of crafts, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of craftsmanship. Just down into verse 6 then, we're told that God had given skill actually to all of the craftsmen. And then later on in chapter 35 and verse 34, we get some additional details that this guy, Bezalel, and his colleague, Oholiab, were both gifted by God with the ability to teach and coach others in these same skills. And this is all beautifully summarized at the beginning of chapter 36. One of the things that really strikes me about this passage is that it isn't some kind of magic. I don't think this text here is suggesting that these guys were plucked out of nowhere and suddenly God gave them metalworking superpowers. I presume that these guys had served apprenticeships and spent years training and perfecting their skills. But in all of this, we're told here in the Bible that God was at work by his Spirit, inspiring their skill and dedication and craftsmanship. So here's a question for you. Do you see your work as something you just kind of do in your own strength? Some of you are younger and you dream of maybe doing an apprenticeship or possibly even going to uni. And you think that all of this, all of the work involved in that is on you. You do it for sure. You did it for sure. But can you sense that actually the Lord himself is at work in your own work, shaping and gifting and developing your skills as you work hard? It is so easy for us, I think, to think that we do practical stuff and God is only at work in the spiritual side of our lives. But do you realize that the Spirit of God is at work in you as you do your work? All of that training and developing and working is done with and in his strength and in his goodness. This means that a third resource I think that we have is prayer. Not only do we have the Word of God to shape our attitude to work, and the Spirit of God to inspire us in our work, but we can also turn to God in prayerful dependence to seek his help in our work. I don't mean prayer instead of work. I think our problem is more likely to be that we're all work and little prayer. Do you pray about the work that you do? Do you ask God for his help? Do you pray for your colleagues? Do you pray that God would give you strength and energy and skill to do your work in a way that pleases him? Maybe you could pray for the organization you work for, the situation you work in. Pray for its aims and goals. Maybe pray for your boss, that God would give wisdom and help when things might be hard. And where do you go when work is hard for you or when a crisis comes along? The truth is, you're not alone as a Christian in your workplace. I also wonder whether we as Christians should create opportunities to talk about our work more so that we can pray for each other in our work. Well, thanks again for engaging with these short videos. We've just got one more video to do after this one. So bye for now. I'll see you next time.